So this is the fourth session of our series, and we've chosen the topic evolving relationships. The first reason why we're discussing relationships is we're covering the poems from the compilation by Swamiji in the book Select English Poems. So the next two that we're going to be studying are The Mountain and the Squirrel and The Nightingale and Glowworm. Why relationships is so pertinent is because we can't escape them. Every aspect of life is nothing but relationship, relationship, relationship. It's not just with people, it's not just with family, it is relationship with the world. It's relationship with challenge, it's relationship with aging, it's relationship with birth, death. Every aspect is about the art of right contact. Shakespeare says, there is nothing good or bad in it. It is our thinking which makes it so. So no object or person is inherently negative. It is the way the subject meets the object. It's the way you meet that aspect of the world. And this is the essence of relating. So when you say you have a good relationship, is it because the person that you are relating with or to has the same likes as you? You say we are compatible. So as long as you cater to that person's likes and that person caters to your likes, there's a beautiful relationship. But that's not relating. Relating is how you deal with each other's differences. Leo Tolstoy says, it is not how compatible you are that makes a marriage work, but how you deal with incompatibility. And what are we looking for in a partner? What are we looking for in a friend? What are we looking for in a job? How does it fit? How compatible is it? The problem is, no two human minds are the same. So even if the majority of your likes align, you will find the one or two things that you disagree with, that you have a difference with, and you will find that one aspect and make it a mountain out of a molehill. Exaggerate it, get under it, complain, grumble, and destroy the relationship. So we've got to learn how to relate to those differences, to those aspects we may not necessarily like, those aspects we may not necessarily agree with. That's the art of relating. And how do you relate in such a way that it's harmonious, pleasant, not negative, not bitter, not where you're exhausted, fatigued? I'm sure all of you can relate. Can see a few couples. I know quite a few are married. You can relate to how exhausting and fatiguing a conversation or a wrong relationship can be. Now, how do we change that? How do we change a relationship into something positive, harmonious? And today we're going to discuss maybe even one that helps us evolve, get closer to the self, the spirit, and helps the other person evolve too. And that's why today's topic is evolving relationships, relationships which help us evolve. And for that, interestingly, the equipment that we need to use in our personality for relationships, most people would say the mind. The mind alone will destroy your relationships. We spoke about love and attachment. If the mind selfishness pervades the relationship, oh, trouble. because that possessiveness becomes attachment and expectation. And when you have expectations of a person, not based on their nature, not based on their capacity, but based on what you like, on based on your version of what you would like the person to be, you will be disappointed. The other person will be frustrated. There will be a parting and friction before the parting. So, therefore, in relationships, we need to use our intellect as well to find out how to govern the emotion, when to express the emotion. And if you do it correctly, like a skill, like an art, say the right thing at the right time, no confrontation, no fights, peace. So let's get on to the two poems today. The first is The Mountain and the Squirrel. And it is by an American poet. His name is Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he belonged to a lot of literary groups. And one of them was called the Transcendentalists. So transcendental means beyond the world. So he was spiritual in nature. He was part of a group that called themselves the Boston Brahmins. And he was a great fan of the philosophy that we're studying, Vedanta. He studied the Bhagavad Gita and appreciated the concept of a unifying one reality running in and through everything. Now, a person with such depth, he writes a very short poem, which we're going to study. Again, it's almost like a nursery rhyme. And yet, from these few lines, there is such useful philosophy for us to live. So let's read through the poem and then extract the message. Okay, we'll put it up on the screen for you. The Mountain and the Squirrel. The Mountain and the Squirrel by Ralph Waldo Emerson. The mountain and the squirrel had a quarrel, and the former called the latter little prig. So the mountain told the squirrel, "You're very conceited." Bun replied, "You're doubtless very big. But all sorts of things and weather must be taken in together to make up a year and a sphere. And I think it no disgrace to occupy my place. If I'm not so large as you, you're not so small as I, and not half so spry. I'll not deny you make a very pretty squirrel track. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. So remember the lines in italics in the poems, and I've shared the poems with you, and it's also available in the Select English Poems along with Swamiji's commentary. Those are the key lines. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. So simple enough story. The mountain and the squirrel having a quarrel. The squirrel is small, the mountain is huge. The mountain says, I can carry forests on my back. The squirrel says, can you crack a nut? Not that it's boasting that I can crack a nut, which you can't. You can carry forests on the back. I can crack a nut. What this poem shows us is the interconnectedness of this world. We spoke about this universe being a cosmos. There seems to be a design, not a chaos, not sheer randomness. If we look at the proportion of carnivores to herbivores to vegetation, it is so well maintained that the life cycle continues. So imagine when those who try to run private game reserves, where they try and meddle and interfere with this balance, If you increase the carnivores, they eat the herbivores, and then they won't have any food left. If you don't have enough carnivores and you have too many herbivores, all the vegetation is consumed. So the herbivores don't have any food. How is it for millennia this is continuing? This beautiful life cycle, this interconnectedness, this proportion, who's maintaining? We don't know. It's happening. And the more and more we exploit the world for humanity's greed, we are realizing how delicate this balance is. We see amongst humans as well. If you go to a university, and this could be any university around the world, you will find the proportion of students studying a particular subject is more or less the same. So if you go to the commerce section, you'll find maximum number of students, maybe 100, 200 students. If you go to the sciences, fewer students. Mathematics, any mathematicians here? Anyone studying mathematics? We have one student who studied mathematics from Oxford. He's with us here. He says in the end, there were only 5 in his class. Very few who study mathematics. And philosophy? Less than a handful. And that too is still deciding. Maybe they want to change subjects to economics. So we see anywhere in the world, you've got this proportion of thinkers to followers, how it's maintained. So when there is this interconnectedness, why do we look around at what the other person is doing and compare what is that person's role and what is that person's role rather than what is my role? This life is like an orchestra, and you have its different players. And if everyone plays their notes, if everyone plays their roles, there's this beautiful melody of existence. But one person who wants to exaggerate their importance, if he goes off key, if he tries to be bigger or smaller than he is, imagine the cello telling the violinist, hey, small guy, I'm the main guy here. Or the tuba telling the saxophone player, hey, people have come to see me. No, it won't be an orchestra. Each one has a part to play. Even the percussionist with the triangle going ding, ding. Everyone has a role to play. But yet, one person might assume he's larger than the other. That is not a functioning orchestra. Similarly, in the poem, they talk about the mountain. So the mountain's inanimate, right? It's no life really, it's matter. And then you've got the squirrel, which is the animate, the living beings. So inanimate and animate come together to give this melody of life. Similarly, each of us has a particular nature, talent, and role to play. So, what should we do? What should we do? We've got a role to play.
Do it to the best of our capacity.
Play to our capacity. Okay. Yes, Nidhi.
Do- Probably we should not undermine anybody else's role in our lives. Let them do their part and do our part on our own.
All right. Let
We
them do
shouldn't
their part.
have
We shouldn't have a superiority complex that, oh wow, I'm doing this, or that pride, ego, I don't know the exact word, but you shouldn't be uh, Yeah, you shouldn't feel like, oh, wow, I can do it and this person can't.
Mhm. Just play your part. Now, at the moment, we don't even know what our part is. We're looking at others to define what our part is. We're looking at others playing their part or their role so well that we want to do what they do. It won't work. Just play your part. Talents differ, all is well and wisely put. Nobody is superior or inferior. Why? Because the universe is made up of all these different roles. So a person who has the wisdom to see the role that an ant plays, the role that a bee plays in pollination, and from pollination to flowers, and from flowers into biodiversity, for those who have that vision, they become humble. Their ego is subdued. But those who don't have that vision and take a particular aspect, a particular talent of theirs and blow it out of proportion, or they could also take the other way and minimize their contribution, have an inferiority complex. This is all because of undue exaggeration of the ego. In Mumbai, some time back, there was a strike of the scavengers. They're called that, garbage collectors. So those who go about and they collect the trash from the different buildings and they take it to the city dump. There was a strike, and the garbage collectors did not go to work. After a few days, the municipality had to give in because a few days of not collecting the refuse of a city like Mumbai, the city came to a standstill. On the other hand, the chief minister had a heart ailment and went abroad for a surgery. Nobody missed him. Who is more important, the chief minister or the garbage collector? Neither. Both have their roles to play. The garbage collector has a role to play, the chief minister has a role to play. Talents differ. We get into trouble, and this is how it starts, from comparison. So when we compare with those who have more than us, and please note, more than us in a specific area, we develop an inferiority complex. Why can't I have that much? I don't have that much. I am lesser. You're looking at life without perspective, without the whole landscape, without the whole understanding. And if you compare with those who have less than you, who are below you in a certain sphere of life, you develop a superiority complex. And this develops the ego. You find one instrument that accentuates our ego is social media. We're constantly looking at what are others doing. And when you see others doing or eating, people have this tendency to post what they're eating in a restaurant. The food comes warm, it's looking so delicious, it's hot, and they're finding the best lighting and angle to take the photo. Sometimes I want to intervene. Look, your food's getting cold. I don't want to interfere. Person is showing a photo of what? Of their meal. What is the thinking behind it? look at what I am enjoying, which you are not enjoying. What is the psychology of the person who's seeing that? Oh, I wish I had that meal. I must try that restaurant. So, what are we doing? We're comparing. And from the comparison, building or subduing the ego. All the world's a stage, says William Shakespeare. All the world's a stage. Its men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. There it is. What is Shakespeare telling us? You have a part to play, just play it. Don't worry about what the other person is doing, what the other person is not doing. You play your part. No comparison. Be the best version of yourself. And one thing that the subject will help is it'll make you incredibly self-sufficient. So you wish another person well if they're successful. You empathize with the person who's not doing so well. But there's no comparison. You understand you have a particular talent nature. It is for you to assess and find that nature and play it well. Master your instrument, add to this orchestra of life. Enjoy the melody. We're all spokes in this wheel of life. And that self or spirit is the hub connecting all the spokes. Why do we accentuate the ego? Why do we want to compare? Anyone? So the ego is this thought of I-ness, minus.
Because we believe that it'll make us happy.
We believe it will make us happy. Okay, does it?
Doesn't really.
Doesn't really.
It can help better ourselves.
It can help better ourselves. Great. In what way?
When you compare, not compare, but when you see what others are doing, you kind of know that you realize that you could also achieve better and push yourself a rung higher.
So you could use it to motivate yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take certain learnings from it. Great. That's an objective way of relating to comparison.
Right.
Great. Anyone else? Why do we pump up the ego?
Because it makes us feel superior to others.
And what does that feeling do?
Temporary happiness.
Yeah. It gives us a short-term pleasure. It's a negative pleasure. It's like an itch. So if you have a wound and the wound is itchy, so you've got this urge to scratch it and you give it a good scratch. And what is the pleasure from that? Satisfying that itch. There's a pleasure, no doubt, but you make the wound worse. Similarly, with the ego, we have to be careful because when you put another person down, or the other way around, when you wallow in self-pity, oh, woe is me. All the things that have happened, my business is down, family doesn't talk to me properly. I'm not sure what's happening in the Australian Open. Maybe your favorite tennis player is about to lose. If you feel, put yourself down or put yourself up, when you're entertaining this ego, there is a pleasure. It's a negative pleasure because long term, it destroys you. It destroys your relationships. It destroys your productivity. Why? Because there's more focus on the I than on what you do. So we can show you 3 ways on how the ego manifests. And let's see if we can combat the destructive force of the ego. So the ego manifests in 3 ways. The first is, I am supreme. The second is, I alone exist. The third, I am the doer. All right, so there you have a definition. The ego is an exhibition of oneself. It is an overemphasis on one's personality, exaggerated projection of oneself over others. And then the 3 expressions of it is, I am supreme, where you think you're better than others. So like the mountain thought over the squirrel. The second is, I alone exist, means you believe that the world revolves around you, that is meant to cater to just your likes and dislikes. So when you look at your children, when you look at your spouse, are they catering to me? Are my colleagues catering to me? Is the weather catering to me? And the third one is, I am the doer, where you exaggerate the importance of your contribution. So let's look at the 3. The first one we've covered. The first one is not understanding the interconnectedness, the cooperative nature of the world. So if you choose to highlight yourself, if you think you are the best, if you think you are supreme, and you neglect or don't acknowledge the contributions of others, you may be successful, but you will not be as successful as you could be. There's a beautiful African proverb which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. If you see the concept of a joint family, how much joint families are able to achieve, because the bringing up of the children is a joint effort. The working together in the business is a joint effort. It has its other complications and needs a whole nother level of right relationship to make it work. But there are the positives of working together. And if you're able to use the intellect to understand that each one has a talent, how can we use each other's talents to work towards a common goal? You're optimizing a relationship. The second one is, I alone exist. So you think you're a diva. Whole world caters to me. The ocean is there to wash my feet. The sand is there to soften my steps. You don't exist alone. And that was the example of the garbage collector. How many contributions are responsible for just being here in this classroom today? It could be a friend who introduced you to the subject. It's this technology, Zoom, internet, camera, lights, air conditioning. All of that is part of the ability for me to share this and for you to listen. How can we say, I alone exist? So when you say I alone exist, what does this mean? It's when you put your needs above another person's. The interesting thing here is, it may not be as conscious as that. You just don't see the other person. Why? Because you're self-involved. You're in love with your ego. You don't see even those you claim to love. At the end of the day, you come back from work. Hi, dear. Hi. How was your day? Oh, I had a terrible day. Oh, okay, okay. And anything new? Anything exciting? You don't even listen to the other person. You don't acknowledge what they've said. You're caught up. What are your thoughts on the next notification on your phone? Me and my world. We're so focused on what we want for the children, we don't see what the children want. We're so focused on what we want the children and our partners to be, we don't see what they would like to be or what they are. I alone exist. Just try and put yourself in that person's mind and intellect. Don't put yourself in such a way where, what would I do if I was that person? That won't work. You've got to try and think like your teenager. You've got to try and think like your sister-in-law, your brother-in-law, your friend. What are their values? What is their background? And when you start seeing the world like how they would see the world, then you're able to understand their reactions. And when you're able to understand, then you're able to connect. You're able to relate. The last one is I am the doer, where you exaggerate your contribution. Albert Einstein says, 100 times a day, I remind myself that my inner and outer life depend on the labors of other men, living and dead, and that I must exert myself in order to give in the same measure as I have received and am still receiving. We are enjoying the efforts of those in the past. Howard's wearing glasses. Somebody came up with that technology, refined it. For those of you in Europe, you're not wearing bulky jackets indoors. There's central heating. Incredible, the ability to adapt. Someone's done that. So when we have this understanding of the world, of the universe, of the role that each one of us plays, we won't use comparison negatively. And Preeti gave a good point. We could use comparison positively in a way that we could use it to motivate or learn from another person, but not in a way to make ourselves feel superior or inferior. Why? You are you, I am me. He is he, she is she. And this is where the intellect comes in. The theme of this session is understand with your intellect, assess people as they are. And you don't have to assess the whole world. Assess the people you're interacting with. Your partners, business, domestic, your children, your brother, sister, parents. He is he, she is she. Lisa will be Lisa. Vidhi will be Vidhi. Siddhant will be Siddhant. And when they are who they are, no problem. You understand? So you don't get irritated, you don't get frustrated, because it's not that you're expecting them to be anything other than who they are. If you do get irritated or frustrated, it's because you want them to be something they're not. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't try to correct or improve a situation, but not with the expectation that the person must change. He is he, she is she, I am me. Talents differ. All is well and wisely put. If I cannot carry forests on my back, neither can you crack a nut. Thank you, Ralph Waldo Emerson, for this beautiful lesson. The second poem is The Nightingale and Glowworm. The story is of a nightingale who for the whole day entertained the village with its song. So nightingale has got a beautiful melody when it sings. And by the evening, it started to feel hungry and started looking around for something to eat. And saw the glow or the spark of the glowworm and say, there's dinner. And from the heights, it swooped down to eat this glowworm. And before it could snatch and gobble up the glowworm says, hold on, hang on, Nightingale, hear me out. You've got a talent to sing, man. I've got a talent to glow. Look at this night. It's dark. But you with music and me with light, let's get together, beautify, and cheer the night. Because, and he says, for 'twas the self same power divine taught you to sing and me to shine. So it's the same divinity in you that's making you sing, that's making me shine. Why do we have to be the victim of each other? Or why did you have to eat me? Let's entertain the night together. And the story goes, the nightingale found a supper somewhere else. He turned vegetarian. Not really, not really. But he didn't eat a glowworm, at least for that evening. So let's go through the story and then extract the essence. In our study of the poems, there are two authors or two poets where we have two pieces. So there's William Cowper, The Nightingale and Glowworm, and we'll also study The Pineapple and the Bee. Fantastic, these two poems. And the other poet is William Wordsworth, where we will study the daffodils and another poem later on attachment. So out of 300 poems that were shortlisted to come to this handful that we're studying, and from this handful, for one poet to have two pieces selected says a lot about the poet. The Nightingale and Glowworm by William Cowper. A nightingale that all day long had cheered the village with his song, nor yet at eve his notes suspended, nor yet when eventide was ended, began to feel as well he might the keen demands of appetite, when looking eagerly around, he spied far off upon the ground a something shining in the dark, and knew the glowworm by his spark. So stooping down from hawthorn top, he thought to put him in his crop. The worm, aware of his intent, harangued him thus right eloquent. Did you admire my lamp, quoth he, as much as I, your minstrelsy, your song? You would abhor to do me wrong, so much as I to spoil your song. For 'twas the self same power divine taught you to sing and me to shine, that you with music I would light might beautify and cheer the night. The songster heard his short oration, and warbling out his approbation, released him, as my story tells, and found a supper somewhere else. Hence, jarring sectaries may learn their real interest to discern. That brother should not war with brother and worry and devour each other, but sing and shine by sweet consent till life's poor transient night is spent, respecting in each other's grace, in each other's case, the gifts of nature and of grace. Those Christians best deserve the name who studiously make peace their aim, peace both the duty and the prize of him that creeps and him that flies. William Cowper. What's the message?
Peaceful coexistence.
Peaceful coexistence. Great. Anyone else?
We should continue to do what we are good at and live in harmony
Live in
and see
harmony.
how we can help each other together.
Appreciate that other people have different qualities, and together we all can shine on better.
Shine on. Okay. So do what together? Or do what better?
To enrich the moment,
Mhm.
make it more joyful and happy.
Okay. Be happier, more joyful, right? There are some,
Actually, it's more to
there is a
spread the
metaphor.
cheer.
Sorry?
I said it's to spread the cheer because that's what the poet said,
Hmm.
to make the night, better for everybody.
Spread the cheer. Mhm. So, what does the night represent? The night darkness represents human ignorance. Our ignorance is complete. We don't know why we are here in this world. We don't know who we really are. I can spend hours on this topic. Who are you? Who am I? What makes you you? Is it your name? Can't be your name. You can change your name. Is it height, weight? Is it your designation? Your profession? You can change your profession. You just change that visiting card. Who are you? Which part of you does not change that's always the same for you to call you you? Do you know it? Don't know. Do we know our purpose here? Don't know. Do we know what will happen when we die? Don't know. Do we know what happened or from where we came, why we came? Don't know. The ignorance is complete. Here, the ignorance that they're referring to is you don't know yourself. You don't know God. You don't know spirit. Don't know. There have been different attempts to find out this unknown purpose, this reality, this something pervading everything. Einstein went looking for it as the universal principle, the one absolute that makes sense of everything, the one fixed point where you can mark all your calculations. What is that point? What is that source? What is that substratum? What is that creator, divinity, that providence? We don't know. People approach God or self, enlightenment, they approach it from different ways, different paths. Why? Because they have different natures. So some approach it with knowledge, and that is the light of the glowworm, the wisdom, the knowledge, the glow. Some approach it with devotion, with the mind's feelings, which is what? Singing. dancing, writing poetry, art. So you might express or pursue your path to find the light in the darkness through knowledge, through devotion, different paths for different peoples. And these are the different sects, the different religions in the world. Why are there different religions? Because there are different individuals catering to their natures. So if we are seeking the same thing, twas the self same power divine, if we are seeking the same goal, peace, enlightenment, God, why is brother warring with brother, worrying and devouring each other? Literally, brother fighting with brother. Over lines not directly written by the authors, the claimed authors, but written years after their deaths. Why are we arguing about non-essentials? Every religion talks about surrender and peace and identification with one's fellow man, fellow being. Why don't we practice that? It uses those Christians best deserve the name. And it's got Christians as a small c because they're referring to somebody who follows the teachings of religion. So a religious practitioner. If you follow religion in its true spirit, you're seeking peace. But peace is not just your goal, peace is also your means. So what it's saying here is, we don't know the unknown. You've got devotion, I've got knowledge. Let us together, rather than arguing about our different approaches, let us complement and supplement each other in pursuit of that God, of that spirit. Let us cheer and beautify the night. I hear a beautiful song and it makes me think of something higher. You hear a beautiful explanation of what the self could be or what the spirit could be. Maybe a perspective, an example. We explained how the spirit is the electricity in gadgets, just as the spirit enlivens and functions in beings, electricity does so in gadgets. You say, oh, that makes it so clear for me. When we exchange these views, there's enlightenment, there's enlightening. We get closer to that light. We remove the darkness. We dispel the ignorance. This is what our relationships could be. I recall before getting married, I went and asked my teacher, what is the purpose of marriage? To which he said, you help each other evolve and reach self-realization. And even though I already had years of study in the subject, I never looked at marriage like that. So where you have weaknesses, the other person can complement your weaknesses. And where the other person has needs and areas where they need help, you can help them there. And together, pursue the path better. If you can't do it by yourself, why not? But if there is a person that can help in the areas where you need it, and you can do the same for the other person, what a relationship. And imagine if the foundation of your relationship is that, how can you part? When your goal is the ultimate, to help each other reach the ultimate, you've got a strong foundation. So I was so inspired by this poem that on the wedding, for our wedding invitation card, my father asked, is there any message you want to put on the card? So I chose these lines, that you with music and me with light. Naturally, I'm the light. That you with music and me with light might beautify and cheer the night. It inspired me because I knew the meaning behind it. Some of my naughtier uncles and friends read a different meaning in beautify and cheer the night. They were referring to the wedding night. I said, no, 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 that's not it. Knowledge and devotion must go together to take us towards self-realization. Evolution. Self-realization, for some of you who are new, difficult concept. Evolution. Improve. Be better. And peace should be our interaction. Why do we allow and accept argument and confrontation in our lives? Is it necessary? Is it necessary for another person to be convinced of your point of view? Do you need to convert them to your way of thinking? Why? Live and let live. And if you can, if you both have the understanding and maturity in the areas of your commonality, where there are common goals, work together to be better. This is what we're capable of. And you see, truly spiritual people, they have this love, they have this affection, despite their backgrounds. And so recently, two prominent spiritual personalities, and one of them passed away, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and his friend, the Dalai Lama. And you see their interaction, hilarious. So much laughter, so much joy. Just watching them, you feel happy. It's infectious. And this is what spirituality should be, or this is what religion should be. Not wars, not conflict, but laughter and lightness and joy. And yet, in terms of theology, very different. The one says to the other, I hope we meet again. And the other says, I'm not sure about you, but I'm definitely planning on, we'll get together next lifetime. Because the one believes in reincarnation, the other doesn't. They're both towards compassion, kindness. It's enough. There is two institutes that are quite well known in our area. One is the Vedanta Academy. So Swami Parthasarathi, very well known for particularly the literature, well respected. And there is another institute called the Sadhu Vaswani Institute, and where there is great emphasis on spirituality, morality, etc. So the person who was leading the institute, his name was Dada Vaswani. Also in his 90s, Swamiji in his 90s, and they happened to be at the same venue for lectures in Puerto Rico. And just wonderful to see men of such stature, people of such renown, just relating with love. And the one is saying, bless me. The other is saying, no, you bless me. It's an honor to meet you. No, it's an honor for me to meet you. Beautiful. That brother should not war with brother, worry and devour each other. Peace, both the aim and the prize. This is it. So when we talk about evolving relationships, let us take a stock of all our relationships. And how can we make those relationships better? How can we bring perspective, our intellect's objectivity to the people that we're in touch with and make that relationship harmonious? Now, if you are relying on the other person to do it, then you have very little power. You will complain, you will grumble, and it'll be a blame game. But if you take accountability and say that the relating is up to me, how can I make it better? How can I relate it so that there's peace for me, peace for that person? And the highest level, how can I help that person evolve and that person help me evolve? If you're able to conceive it, that it's possible, then as you develop your intellect, you'll be able to make those relationships a reality. But if you say, no way, this person is incorrigible, Sudhakar, even if you meet this person, you will be corrupted, then there is no salvation, there's no redemption. And I'm not saying you have to have a relationship with everyone, but the relationships you choose to continue with, make them work. Make them melodious. Make them evolutionary. It's not an overnight effort. It needs consistent development of your intellect. Therefore, you've got to put in the requisite effort. And one avenue I would recommend for all of you is either the literature or a video course curriculum on this knowledge from the beginning to the end, a course for developing your intellect, and it's called e-learning. So I know quite a few of you, probably about almost half of you are doing it. For those of you who are not there yet, get a few lectures in, read a book or two, be convinced. So take your time, see if it meets your requirement, but if there is no effort, there will be no result. And the effort has to be consistent because you're changing your thoughts. Once a week, like this course, is going to provoke you maybe to do something consistently, but this once a week will not change. It has to be daily. And I would recommend the first hour in your day, as early as possible, ideally between 5 and 6, dedicated to your development, intellectual and spiritual. From that, everything works out. That's it. Hari Om, everyone.